Hey, Cole, can you hear us?
Yep, I got you.
Outstanding. Well, we'll go ahead and begin. We are joined, of course, by Cole Custer, driver of the number 41 Haas Automation Ford Mustang for Stewart Haas Racing. We have a lot of questions. We're going to go straight into them. And our first question will come from Daniel McFadden. Go ahead with your question, Daniel.
Hey Cole. So last week we got our first preview of the Netflix show, The Crew, and we found out you were going to be in it. So I was just curious, how did your involvement come about in this? And I'm pretty sure this is like your first time doing any kind of Hollywood thing, and just like, what was your experience of going up to New York and filming that like?
Oh, it was interesting. Obviously, I'm not an actor, so it was pretty nerve-wracking for sure. I mean, getting to work with people like Kevin James, I mean, that's pretty unreal, and I didn't know what to expect, honestly. It's just amazing how good those people are at their profession. I mean, obviously, I mean, a lot of things. I mean, he's saying off script and stuff, and it's just insane. So it was definitely something I'll never forget, and I'm really grateful I got the opportunity to do it. And I think it's going to be a good show. I think it's going to, have some comedy in it and kind of relate to, everything we do in the sport.
How much time did you devote to that? Like, how long was the experience of being on set and stuff?
I think it was maybe 4 or 5 hours. I don't think it wasn't crazy. Obviously my portion was only one scene. So, I think it was cool to do and kind of, just get my feet wet in it.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Our next question will come from Kelvin LaPierre. Go ahead with your question, Kelvin.
Thanks, hey, Cole. Thanks for taking the time out today. Just a quick question going into the year. How excited are you to get on the the dirt track here in about a couple months?
I'm excited, but probably scared at the same time. It's just like everybody knows it. It's going to be one of those races. Nobody knows what to expect. There's going to be a lot of adapting when we show up and trying to figure it out because it's going to be brand new for a lot of people. I mean, for everybody because we've never run cup cars on dirt. So it's going to be a lot to take in. But obviously, we're trying to get on dirt tracks before and try and get a feel for it because every track and every race matters. So it's a matter of trying to collect as many points as you can so you can have a good shot at the playoffs.
And one more quick one. It was just announced that Pitbull is going to be the Grand Marshal for the Daytona 500. How cool is that, and how does that help NASCAR be more inclusive to all in the sport?
I think it's awesome. I mean, obviously, having a couple new teams and a couple new owners in the sport with Michael Jordan, Pitbull, Justin Marks. I mean, it's awesome to see, these new people coming in and having excitement towards it. So I think it's a great, one of the best things that's happened to the sport in a long time. And obviously, the more inclusive we can be to everybody and get everybody involved, I think the better. And I think that's kind of the direction that we want to move in.
Thanks, Cole. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Our next question is going to come from Kyle Foster. Go ahead with your question, Kyle.
Well, how's it going?
Good.
So I'm coming to you from California. What are you expecting when you get to Sonoma this year? You didn't get to race here last year. You're going to get the rookie experience in your second year at Cup. What are your thoughts on that?
Luckily I've raced there a few times in the K&N series, so I do know the track, for the most part. It's just going to be figuring out in a Cup car, and obviously we didn't go there last year, so there are going to be a few things that we're going to have to figure out. But it's a hard track. I mean, really technical. The carousel that they started running 2 years ago is pretty hard. So it's definitely one you gotta be good at. Hitting your marks really good, and having tire fall off right. And it's one that I'm looking forward to going back to my home state though, because we haven't been able to go back in a little while.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Marty Sikala. Go ahead with the question, Marty.
Thank you, Matt. Hey, Cole. I want to ask about Chase Briscoe. He's obviously been in your footsteps with being rookie of the in the rookie candidates this year. And my question is, you've raced with him before. Darn, what was I going to ask? What do you expect for him to come in as he comes into the Cup levels this year? What does he bring to the team?
Oh, I'm really excited about it. I think Chase, has a ton of talent. I mean, obviously coming from the dirt side, and he really knows how to get after it in a car. And he has a different driving style that I think he can bring to our team, and kind of just have. And I'm a good friend with him, so I feel like we can bounce ideas off each other really good, and I think it's going to help our team in general just to have somebody. I mean, obviously, just I think Chase is going to be a great addition and bringing a lot of talent to the table, and I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit hard, having no practice for him, but I think he'll definitely catch on as the year goes, and I'm sure he's going to get it definitely by the end.
These past few 500s, it's not a matter of if it happens, but when the big one happens. As a driver, where would you like to be if that big one occurs that could help you get near the front for a shot the win? You want to be in front of it, or do you want to be behind it, locking the brakes up, trying to miss it?
You want to be in front of it, but to be in front of it is not easy, and it doesn't guarantee you, I guess. So it could happen at any moment is the problem. So you really just got to go and race. I mean, obviously we talk about trying to game it and trying to stay in front of it or behind it or and everything, but for the most part, you just got to go race, hope for the best. If things are getting crazy and you're in a bad spot, maybe you back out, but it's for the most part, you go and race.
Thanks for your time, man. Have a great speed weeks.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Anton Reskiv. Go ahead with your question, Anton.
Good afternoon, Cole. You've had a brilliant rookie season last year with your win at Kentucky. And I wanted to ask, what are your expectations for your second season? Will it be easier for you or even more difficult than the first one?
Well, I'm hungry to get going. I mean, I think, we're excited to try and go out there and run in the top 10. I think that's the biggest thing is, last year we could hit it right from time to time and run in the top 10 and obviously compete for a win. But we just need to do it more consistently. And I think this year we have a lot more notes to look at. I have a lot better idea, more confidence in the cars. So I'm looking forward to trying to, put ourselves in that category and try and be up front more.
Thank you. Wishing you all the best for the Speed Weeks.
Thank you.
And as a reminder, if you do have a question for Cole, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll make sure to call on you. Our next question is going to come from Tucker White. Go ahead with your question, Tucker.
All right. Cole, as we've seen the last few years, especially last season, the driver who performs the best throughout the season doesn't always make the championship round, like with Kevin Harvick. So given the fluky nature of the playoffs and getting to the championship race now, how is it a good metric for determining the champion, especially compared when leagues like IndyCar and Formula One determine their champion through a season-long format?
It's how we play the game. I don't know how else to say it. I think it makes a lot of excitement. I think it's a lot like other sports where we have a playoffs, and I think it's always been good. Obviously, in all sports, you have times where the best team doesn't win the whole thing, doesn't win the championship, and that happens in our sport too. I mean, it's just part of it. Obviously, our sport's a little bit unique because we do race at different tracks, and things can happen. Some teams are better at certain tracks than others, but at the same time, I mean, it's the game we play, and we have a playoff system, and I think it's been great for the sport and having a lot of excitement, and you just gotta make it happen those last 10 races.
All right, thank you.
Good deal. Our next question will come from Heather Williams. Go ahead with your question, Heather.
Trying to get unmuted here. Can you hear me now? So last year you guys kind of went through a season where in the middle everything changed with COVID and all that kind of stuff. Going into kind of the second season of COVID, what do you guys expect? Do you expect it to be like it was last year, or are you still trying to be kind of, I guess, fluid and just kind of going with the flow?
I think we have a lot better idea of what we have going on, obviously. Our first race at Darlington, we didn't know what was, it was so much different than what we're used to. But now we have a good rhythm of how the schedule works and stuff like that. And we know what we kind of want to bring to the racetrack for, the schedule that we have and everything like that. So I think it's going to go a lot smoother this year. And it's just a matter of trying to look at all your notes and make sure that you're prepared and as thorough as you can going into the next one.
Our next question will come from Kelly Crandall. Go ahead with your question, Kelly.
Hey, Cole. Along those same lines, how much did the practice last year, not having practice, how much do you think that kind of slowed down your team's progression in a sense?
It definitely hurts some, obviously, to be, a younger guy and not have the opportunity to really, try things at the racetrack, whether it's from a setup point or just to kind of get used to the track or whatever it is. So it definitely hurts a little bit, but, you just have to learn to rely on different things like the simulator and, watching videos and trying to really get ready before the weekend. So obviously it slows things down a little bit. I don't know if it's a make or break kind of thing, but it's definitely something that, it's going to be harder for the rookie guys and the younger guys to probably get up to speed, obviously, just because you don't have the practice.
In watching film, in race study, have you learned how to do that? Have you learned what you should be looking for and things to pick up on?
Yeah, and that's nothing that's new. I mean, obviously, I think we've all watched a ton of film even before when we had practice. I mean, we'd watch a ton before the race and be completely ready. Now it's just you kind of had to change what you're looking at and how much of it you're looking at. So it's just, you don't really have to look at old practice sessions and stuff like that. So it actually simplifies things at times too, because you don't have to look at as much stuff and, you don't have as many things to mess up through the weekend. So it's there's gains and losses, I guess, but it's definitely for the younger guys would probably be a little bit nice to have some practice.
Our next question will come from Mark Garrow. Go ahead with your question, Mark.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Cole. How do you feel about what you bring to the table now at Stewart-Haas? A year ago, untested rookie, don't know what to expect. Your teammates don't know what to expect from you. You win a race, you go to the playoffs, so you're in a much different place than when you were a year ago. Do you feel like there's more respect going both ways now as to what you can bring to the table?
Yeah, I think so for sure. And your rookie year, you're just making sure you're not backing it into the fence or not tearing up race cars. So this year, you've been to all the racetracks, you have an idea of everything. So now you can go out there and really, get aggressive with it and have some more confidence. And I think we're just really hungry to go out there and run towards the front more. I think the more that we can run towards the front and have those opportunities, we're going to have more opportunities to win races. So it's, I'm ready to get the year going and get to Daytona.
What are your expectations? I mean, your goals have to be different, right? You've won a race, you've made the playoffs. So what's next when you set your goals for this year?
Well, we'd like to win a race again, obviously, and make the playoffs. It's just a matter of, last year I feel like we could run in the top 10 and compete for wins. Obviously when we hit things right, and I was driving track right and everything was working. It's just a matter of doing that more consistently this year. And we got to fight and claw to stay up there near the front and get stage points and make sure we're there at the end of the race.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Claire B. Lang. Go ahead with the question, Claire.
Mute real quickly here. All right. When you look at the Daytona 500, I mean, after last year, you don't have a lot to prove, right? But what does the Daytona 500 mean in the scope of things to you? Like, you don't have to show people that you'll be right up there and racing in it. Or do you? Do you feel like you have to kick off the season in a strong note to keep the team jazzed up, or what? Like, what does it mean to you?
For me, I just run the smartest race I can possible. I think you have to be aggressive in speedway racing. You have to, I think, race the whole time. But there are at times, where if you're in a bad spot, you might try and do the smarter route and hang back or something. But it's something where it's the biggest and most prestigious race of the year, and it's the first one. So I think we're all going on kill. I mean, obviously, everybody wants to put their name in that hat of being a Daytona 500 winner.
Kind of a fly on.
I think it's just something that, everybody wants to go there, and we're going to put it all on the line to try and win that race.
How much does confidence have to do with it? Like acting on the move as quick as you think about it, if it's right,
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that comes with experience and watching video of, every single situation is different, and you just have to know what the right move is. And that comes with experience and watching film and studying. So it's just a matter of, and also racing the whole race. I think if you're kind of lagging back the whole race, you might not have the confidence of making those big moves at the end.
Thank you, and good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Cole Kuzamano. Go ahead with the question, Cole.
Thanks, Matt. Good seeing you again. Hi, Cole. Looking ahead to the Busch Clash, how important is it to get that additional track time at a relatively unfamiliar course for most? And would you say this makes the exhibition race even more vital than years past on the oval at Daytona?
For sure. It's definitely a race, especially with the amount of road courses that we are running this year. It's a pretty important race because it's one of the few races where we get to kind of almost have a little bit of a practice session of, races to come that aren't, and this one's not points related. So you can go out there and try some things maybe and try and figure some things out for the other road courses. And it's definitely, I think it's put a lot more emphasis or, more importance on that race for sure.
Thank you. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
And our next question will come from Marty Sakala. Go ahead with your question, Marty.
Yeah, Cole. Is there any specific underdog you could see rise up to the occasion in the final laps of the 500, especially with the 500? Anyone could win it.
Oh man, I'd have to think. I mean, there's the thing about it is that this year there's a lot of open cars, and there's a lot of guys who are going to be fighting to make it into the race itself. So who knows? I mean, there could be some really good storylines of teams that had to fight their way into the 500, and you never know at Daytona. I mean, somebody could be there up at the front at the end.
All right, thank you.
Do we have any additional questions for Cole Custer? If you do, go ahead and raise your hand. Our next question will come from Mark Garrow. Go ahead with your question, Mark.
Well, thanks for a second crack at it. All right, Cole, a lot of new stuff this year, new schedule, new teams. You don't do this without being a little bit of a race fan yourself. So you're sitting at home. What interests you out of all the new that is coming our way? What is the kind of the things that intrigue you or you're kind of interested to see how they're going to play out?
Honestly, I'm really excited about the Bristol Dirt Race. I raced a little bit of dirt when I was younger. I wouldn't say I'm a professional or anything, but it was something it was really fun, and it was something I would love to get back to. And I'm really excited to get back on the dirt, and even the practice leading up to it of getting in different cars and trying to get laps. I think it's really fun to get to kind of learn that different kind of racing.
So what are you doing to prepare? When you say jumping in different cars, what are you trying to do to get prepared for?
Whether it's, a late model or a modified or a street stock or something like that, just to kind of get some laps on a dirt track, I mean, it's something that a lot of the pavement guys aren't used to. So the more laps you can get, the better.
So what do you think is going to be the key to running well on the dirt? I mean, you see on an asphalt track, the groove changes, but nothing like a dirt track. So with limited experience, how do you find the way?
Well, I think it's going to be important to get through your heat race good and kind of start your race off good, because if you start behind, it can definitely kind of throw you for a loop, and then you're kind of fighting, and maybe you do something that you don't want to, and you get yourself in a bad position. So I think the heat race is important, and then it's going to be a lot about attrition, especially for a lot of the pavement guys. I think it's just staying clean is going to be one of the biggest things, and not making mistakes and just being there at the end, because there's going to be a lot of guys who do make mistakes. And I think it's something it's going to be a race of limited mistakes.
So you're looking forward to getting out of a race like the drivers in the old days, right? Just covered raccoon eyes. Maybe the only place clean maybe is where your helmet's covering you. Are you kind of looking forward to that kind of old school scenario?
Yeah, that's the fun. That's part of the fun. I mean, it's going to be cool. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna have to run tear-offs or what I'm gonna have to get, but I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thank you.
Our next question will come from Cole Kuzamano. Go ahead with your question, Cole.
Thank you. Going back to Daniel's question earlier about the crew, how do you feel NASCAR was represented on the show, and how do you feel it will impact NASCAR's viewership and popularity?
Obviously it's a comedy, so I think it's meant to be funny. But I think it's good. It just brings more awareness to the sport. I mean, having a show on Netflix, and I think it's all just a good thing, honestly, to have an actor like Kevin James involved with our sport and with a show with our sport. So I don't think there's any downside to it. Obviously, I mean, obviously maybe there's some funny parts people won't find funny, but I don't know. I think it's all positive.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Daniel McFadden. Go ahead with your question, Daniel.
Hey Cole, you were just talking about learning from mistakes. I was wondering what was the biggest lesson that you learned last year that was the result of a mistake you made that was just an innocent mistake, a rookie mistake? What was the most important thing you learned last year from a mistake?
Oh man, I don't know if I can say just one, honestly. I don't know if I just had that one mistake that I really, could pinpoint, but I think the one thing I learned the most from was just the 550 package. It was so much different than what, the Xfinity cars were, and how you drove them was almost backwards than what you think. So it was a lot of learning. That was the biggest thing, and just through the whole year getting better and better with it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Chase, I really appreciate the time you took with us today, and good luck as you get ready for the Great American Race.
Thank you.